Club podcast all up in your ear. Talking all that good you wanna hear. Stogies, bourbons, and everything in between. Griff and Pugh are not experts by any means, so sit back and light one up. Make sure you got something good in your cup. Happy smoking, now enjoy the program. Thank you for being part of the Cigar Club fam.
What's up, Cigar Club family? Welcome back to another episode of the Cigar Club podcast. I'm Pugh, and along with me, as always, is Griff Howie. Thank you all so much for listening every week and leaving your thoughts and feedback on each episode. We love reading them. If this is your first time, thank you as well for tuning in. The Cigar Club podcast is where we talk about all things cigars with you, the Cigar Club family, every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern. On today's episode, Griff and I are sharing a first together. We're going to be smoking a brand new cigar to us. Neither of us has smoked this. We picked this up at PCA, but didn't get a chance to smoke it. And so we are going to smoke it now. And it is none other than the Caldwell Lost and Found Forever Fresh Broadleaf Maduro Lonsdale. Wow. We're going to smoke through it here. I know it's a full name. We're going to smoke through it and see if this is something that we may want to include in boxes. But we know what we're smoking. Griff, how you doing? What you drinking?
Good afternoon to you, Pew. Do you have the intro memorized yet?
No, as we saw, I continually, don't read it for verbatim, despite Ramsey putting it on paper for me to read. And
you were on a roll there for a few, and then it fell.
Yeah.
I was just curious if you had it memorized.
As we saw at PCA, I had most of it memorized. I think I did a pretty good job of recalling it fresh at PCA. It wasn't too bad.
No, it wasn't bad.
I do wake up in my night, or before I go to bed at night, and sometimes the day before a podcast, recite it to myself.
Really?
Yeah, because sometimes I want to just, think how I could put a little flair to it. And
I think we need to change it.
We sit down, and you know what? We probably just need to change the host. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, you're probably right. But I'm excited about this cigar. There's something about this cigar that just looks old world.
Yeah.
It's just so unique. And I've also never heard of this cigar.
So,
although
Lost
I'm
and
not
Found.
Super familiar with Caldwell for no rhyme or reason. I love the branding, and I love his cigars. It's just a brand that I don't smoke a whole lot of.
Yeah, absolutely. Lost and Found is I want to say it's an offshoot of Caldwell. I believe it is technically its own line that he established, but I could be wrong, so Robert, don't yell at me. So usually the MO for Lost and Found is exactly how it sounds. He finds cigars that had been left over in aging rooms and adds them, they didn't have anything be produced with it, or maybe someone backed out of it, whatever it may be. And he'll go in and get these cigars, smoke them, and then develop a brand identity around it. If you've ever had Orphan Barrel whiskey, same premise, but this version of cigars. So it's a way for him to get aged cigars that are really good blends in limited quantities, and when they're gone, they're gone. And so this one is a little bit different of his is a bit of a departure than his normal MO for this one. He actually reached out to Oliva to make this cigar. He kind of departed it from it, but this cigar is, I'm just reading a little bit of information on it. It is, as we know, broadleaf Maduro. It's a Lonsdale that we're smoking, 6.5 by 42, with Nicaraguan binder and filler. And let's see.
It's like beef jerky.
You're ahead of me. I'm excited. It is a full-bodied blend with a bunch of Nicaraguan cigars, Pennsylvania broadleaf Maduro wrapper. I'm not going to read the tasting notes, but only 350 boxes of this size were produced. So once again, reflecting on that limited sort of single runs, there's only going to be so many of these cigars produced, and then once they're gone, he's moved on to the next 3 projects by that point.
I love this band. It's just, there's no other band like it. It's got this, the Forever reminds me of, Jimmy Neutron's hair.
Oh, yeah. Or Johnny Bravo.
Oh, Johnny Bravo. Well,
Johnny Bravo. Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
Jimmy Neutron, too, but yeah. Isn't that weird? I'm getting, immediately this, beef jerky, heavy, thick, chewy note. On
the description, the retro's really nice. On the description that I was reading from with the cigar details, it says this is a cigar. This is a cigar that's best for the end of the day, and it's not. This is my second cigar of the day. This is your second cigar of the day. Normally, I will preface this. Normally, when we go in for a cigar that we hadn't smoked before, lot of the times both Griff and myself will look to it be on a fresh palate, but it was too beautiful of a morning. It was low, mid-70s for me. Griff had a nice storm come through.
Not beautiful here, but at least it was cool out, and I was covered.
Oh, God. That is earthy. Definitely some beef jerky. The retro is actually like fat creaminess, like milk, like high-fat milk. So it almost does a really nice job of cleansing my palate. But I saw you sipping on something before the show. You just drinking water today, or are we
vodka?
Just straight vodka on ice?
Yeah, just a tumbler of vodka.
That'd be a departure from the norm, that's for sure.
I was gonna crack open a beer, but I have not had any water today, and wanted to throw some in me before
your
the
Thursday
next
whiskey.
thing, and I'll either pour whiskey or beer here in the next hour. But I was also thinking tequila, but I don't have any sparkling water on me.
You're gonna make fun of me. I've been I don't want to say 2 weeks sober because that makes it sound like I'm drunk all the time. I haven't had a drink in 2 weeks.
Oh my!
After the beach, drank a lot at the beach, and we're going to the lake this weekend. So I was like, you know what? I don't got much going on. Let's not have a drink for 2 weeks, and I don't feel any different. So
that's the thing. And
Should've
you haven't
just
lost
drank.
weight either. So
definitely not. Thanks
Screw
for
it.
pointing that one out, brother.
Yeah, screw it. Yeah, I gotta. We're going to Napa in 2 weeks, and 2 weeks from yesterday, I gotta start getting my wine palate in order.
Yeah, you do.
We've been having some, not a good bit, but some, and for no reason other than just to start getting in a habit. But I hope it's somewhat cool over there, because drinking red
Have you
wine
been checking
in
the water
summer is
weather?
not the best. No, I haven't even looked actually. But
I have a funny feeling it's gonna be. I mean, I know it's technically not the same location,
least
but
it's
like
zero
Arizona's
humidity.
record hot. Yeah,
I know.
I imagine it'll be similar, maybe a little bit cooler than Vegas. I don't know where Napa is on of California. Like, is it towards the north?
Right near Sacramento. Sacramento, I believe, is like northeast of it.
Okay, so you might be towards some cooler weather there.
And I believe we're about an hour, maybe hour and a half. Napa's about an hour and a half north-ish of San Francisco.
Okay.
From what I recall. I've been in San Francisco
and you think about
once,
growing wine, you don't want really, really hot temperatures because it's going to kill the grapes. So it's got to be somewhat.
It's the start of harvest. August, September,
pleasurable.
October is the start of harvest. So allegedly that's the time to go. So we're feeding off of all the intel from my in-laws. They've been 5 or 6 times.
Oh, that's good that you've got a little bit guide, so to speak.
Yeah, my father-in-law's creating he said, send me all your places that you want to go, and he's making the map, so we're going to...
Was it just you and Meg, or are you going with friends and
No,
family?
we're going with my in-laws and then my brother-in-law and sister-in-law.
That's
So the 6 of us, Meg's brother and sister-in-law, and the in-laws and myself and Meg. So it should be fun.
Did you say, have you been before? I don't.
No.
Okay.
Been to San Francisco, but never been into Napa and into the wine country, so... the thing about wine is we love drinking it, but I always sleep like ass at night. That's why I'm trying to get my body used to it, because
Get some liver pills.
I might need to.
I'll send you the one after this. Remind me. I'll send you the ones that I get now.
You think they help?
They've got. Yeah, I think they help a ton. It's got ginger in it. It's got for upset stomach. Then there's something the next day for nausea, and I take them right before I go to bed. I'll take, depending on how many I've drank 3, and then I'll chug a bottle of water, and then the next day. I mean, unless I've drank a lot and had 3 or 4 of those, and I felt okay the next day. Do I feel 100% after a half handle of tequila? No,
right.
But I feel better than otherwise I would have. So I'm a big fan.
I've never taken anything like that, but I think I need to order some of those. And I was going to just pack some noons,
some high noons just to really level it out.
Yeah. No, the noon, the
liquid IV store.
Liquid IVs.
Yeah, that's a good call. That's the next morning. I mean, I'll take them before bed too as well.
Yeah.
But before we do jump into this cigar and just talking about how we try new cigars and look to get them in boxes, I do want to let everyone know that Warehouse Selects Volume 3 is out now. Sometimes you just want to try a new cigar, and it can be difficult to know where to start, which is why we created the Warehouse Selects, which is a mystery sampler put together by an incredible warehouse team that packs all your boxes and ships you all your boxes. Each package will include a variety of premium blends ranging from mild medium, and full-bodied cigars at an incredible price and value. There are a limited number left. I think we've only got like 10 or so left. So if you're thinking about it, go ahead and grab that the Warehouse Selects Volume 3 before we do run out.
Which is a mystery.
Which is it's a mystery. They're really fun and really cool to let our warehouse get involved a little bit more than just putting all your great boxes together each week and each month. So, like I said, this is a brand new cigar. We grabbed this at PCA. Didn't have a chance to smoke it, but we knew we were interested in potentially getting it in your boxes. And so now we have the opportunity, rather than, Griff and I just, mid-work week, each smoking it at some point or together, we was like, well, why not? We just film it.
Record it.
We always say as we're shooting the shit, hanging out, doing these, that we just need to record it. So here we are. It'll be a little bit maybe of a more laxed, laid-back episode. I changed up the scenery for everyone. We're front porch sitting. I felt cool last week, front porch sitting at my parents' house. So we're doing it again today.
Are you leaning forward, or is that the chair?
I am.
Okay.
No, it's me. This just looks. It's just not a good angle. I feel like
drop your shoulders.
Let the belly out. I mean, no one wants to see that. I'm trying to keep viewers, not run them away.
I'm in my extra wide chair with my pillow.
If I had a belly pillow, I'd probably feel a little more secure about sitting back.
This is my chair. I get a little breeze going this way.
I joked with Ramsey. I was like, does this distract anyone from the podcast today?
I didn't even know you had it. But I'm glad you got that. It's a hell of a purchase.
It is. And I'm glad I got the wireless battery for it, too.
Oh, you have to.
Because I was just running cord with it before, and now I'm like, nah, too easy.
Yeah, you have to. Strictly speaking on the broadleaf genre, we just did a podcast about Las Calaveras.
Yep.
This, to me, I enjoy this cigar a little bit better. This also could be the size. I'm not saying the size. This size is awesome.
Yes. To me, it's a fine line between a Lancero and a Lonsdale, and I think I honestly, I don't know the difference. I imagine it's just the length and a slightly larger ring gauge, but I would call this a Lancero just as much as I would call it a Lonsdale. But
construction is amazing.
Beautiful broadleaf wrapper. I agree. This is more of a broadleaf.
Yeah.
Than when I think of a broadleaf cigar, Pennsylvania broadleaf, this is what I think of. I
really like
beef jerky. It's earthy. There's a slight spice.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Nicaraguan tobaccos that make up the binder and filler continue that. But then I'm getting, like I said, a touch of sweetness on the retrohale, almost like a creaminess of the retrohale. Ramsey is coming in here with some background. Lancero is usually a 6.5 by 38, while Lonsdale is a 6 by 42. So it just happens to be. But I've smoked Lanceros that I think they call 42s.
Yeah, I mean,
so
no one's gonna give you a ticket if you're, if you're off a couple here and there. And then you get the Petite Lancero, you got the coil, Alec Bradley coil.
Yep, that's one of my favorite Alec Bradley cigars. So this cigar right off the bat, super earthy, very beef jerky. I'm trying to think of the cigar off the top of my head that I also get a lot of beef jerky, and it's escaping me for whatever reason. Poop. Because it's a perfect comparison.
Oh, I'm curious now.
Oh, son of a...
You'll think about it tonight.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. When I'm recapping all the dumb shit that I said in this podcast, I'll give you shoot you a text real quick. But yeah, so I want to approach this as we smoke this cigar, but just kind of our general process that each of us go through. We all smoke lots of different cigars, not only cigars that we do include, but also cigars that are up and coming, new releases, new brands. We certainly approached a lot of new brands at PCA, and whether we smoked them there or have been smoking them on the side. Usually what we do is, hey, Griff, I smoked this today, or I'm smoking this. Cool, I've never had it before, and then we just kind of go back and forth on whoever's smoking it and describing the construction, the draw, what we like about it, what we don't like about it, who we thought or think, would enjoy this cigar. And then we kind of go from there. I mean, it's really as simple as that. At the end of the day, it's smoking the cigar, being conscious of it. If I'm smoking a brand new cigar, I know we are doing it on the podcast here today, but I tend to that's the next hour of the day. I'm not going to be diving into an Excel sheet and being distracted at the same time, because I really want to focus on the cigar and make sure that it's going to be a right fit for our boxes.
The tricky part is, just because I like it doesn't mean Sam Hopkins is not going to like it.
Sure.
Or vice versa.
Absolutely.
I just repeated myself by accident. So sometimes we smoke a cigar, it's like, I mean, not really my profile, but I could definitely see someone else liking this.
Exactly.
So there's this balancing act. I mean, everyone knows the cigars that I like. Everyone, knows the cigars that you like. So,
Yep.
And our profiles are a little bit different. Our profiles are a little bit different in the bourbon, which is actually kind of cool when you really think about it. You're the pansy, low proof.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Hey now, catching shade already.
And then I'm the more manly, beefier.
Yeah. You're the newcomer to the scene. I get it. You're still trying things, and but to your point though,
act.
Absolutely. If you grab a cigar and you're like, oh, I don't like this flavor profile isn't for me, and the construction sucks. Nah, not happening.
Yeah.
That's a quick telltale sign of, you know what, this cigar is not for me. The flavor profile might be for someone else, but the construction isn't there. The burn line is wavy. I see you've held a nice ash there. My ash is more or less completely straight with this fan blowing straight on it. So there are key things that you can look for outside of just flavor profile to determine if it's worthy to go in boxes. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, we are sticklers on construction. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I was talking to the owner of the Social Cigar Lounge here in town, and he's like, I can guarantee everything. This is a massive stickler. He said, I can guarantee everything in this humidor, your construction will be damn near perfect. There's obviously a somewhat of a variant there, but
sure.
He said, I'm backing everything I put in here because you're putting $8, $10, $12, $15, $20, $30 into a cigar. You want this thing to burn evenly. You want the construction to be nice and tight, nice white ash, depending on the blend. So he's like, I'm not going to put anything that, the cigar may taste great. That's the crappy part. The cigar may taste great, but the construction is just garbage. He said, I'm just not going to do it because it just comes back to bite me.
Yeah, it comes back to bite him because then they're like, I just get shitty cigars I get cigars that maybe they're not shitty. Let me rephrase that. That just fight me the whole way. And to your point, I mean, there's a reason why we have our guarantee. If you get a cigar that you get a cracked wrapper into it or it's canoeing or whatever it may be, you have issues with your cigar, let us know because they're a handmade product at the end of the day. We could smoke 100 of these cigars. Chances are one of them may have an issue, right? Yeah. And that's just because they're handmade. Someone may have accidentally rolled it a little too tightly or that one cigar, whatever it may be. There's a million factors that go into it. But at the end of the day, the brands and the blends that we send, we know are all going to be consistent to a very small percentage point that, something may not be. So,
that's something I forget about a lot, and I hate that I do. Not to divert off the topic here, but you smoke so many cigars, you get in the rigmarole of cutting, lighting, enjoying it. But you forget this thing is freaking hand rolled.
Yep.
I it's like an epiphany I'm having right now, which is crazy to even say. But you forget that again. It's whatever the number is, 200 some odd hands. You forget. I hate that I forget it. Yeah, it's like a.
It's an art. It's like a piece of art that you get to enjoy. If you go to like a really fine dining restaurant, Griff, I know you've been fortunate enough, I believe, to go to maybe a Michelin star or maybe two Michelin star restaurant before. From every component on that plate is meticulously placed and thought about, and the same goes with a cigar. The blender decides on the tobacco to provide construction, draw, flavor, combustion. Then that initial blend needs to be reproduced by multiple rollers in a factory. Then once that cigar is rolled, it sits. It then goes over to the people who band it, who cello it, who sort it by wrapper shade to make sure all the cigars in one box are similar in shade, because you may have a Connecticut cigar, but there's still going to be variances. This one may be a little bit darker, this one a little bit lighter, and you don't want a box full of multicolored same wrapper cigars because that presentation doesn't look good. So you're going to sort to make sure most, if not all, of those cigars in that box are going to look good. Then it's going to be from a foreign country, most likely.
Yep.
Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, to a factory or a warehouse, rather, in the United States, most likely, if you're in the U.S. listening to this. Then it's going to go to your local brick and mortar or to us or whoever. And then it gets shipped by the UPSPS or UPS, whoever it may be. I mean, there's a lot of people involved in this process. And to your point, when I think of the Lost and Found brand and Robert going out and finding cigars that have been sitting in a humidor for X amount of times, or another great is the Reserva 710. That cigar was sitting for 18 years, properly humidified. Some master blender is constantly checking on their work because that's money. You know, it may be still in their factory, but that cigar eventually is going to go to someone. So they're constantly making sure those cigars are properly humidified. There's nothing wrong with them. I mean, the attention to detail that does go into a cigar from conception. I mean, I didn't even cover people designing the bands, designing the boxes, growing the tobacco, and hand picking it, and water, all the things that go into it. It's just it's crazy that at the end of the day, fermenting, at the end of the day, we get something that is smokable, it's enjoyable, and for a lot of us, it's therapy. It's our time to unwind at the end of a long work week, busy day. Kids have gone to sleep maybe, and you're 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever time that you have, you're sitting down and enjoying a handmade product. And that's why Griff and I do take a lot of pride and thought into selecting cigars, because you're spending your quality time.
Yeah.
And we want to give you something that's enjoyable from both a flavor profile, but nothing's more frustrating than getting a cigar after you haven't had a cigar in a week, you've been too busy, you sit down, and the cigar's going out. You can't get a good draw. It's not burning, whatever it may be. And then you're like, F it, I'm going back inside, whatever it may be. So, there's a lot of things that go into it, and it's something that I know both of us take with a lot of pride and privilege to be able to select these cigars and make sure we're giving you guys the best cigars that are out there.
It's not only your time, it's your money as well, which is a big piece of it. And there is nothing worse than wanting to relax, pour a glass of bourbon or whatever, and light up a cigar, and it going out within a couple minutes, or it's starting to, crack or overheat or whatever. Yep. But I mean,
you've got a hell of ash. I dropped mine because
I'm about to just ash just so I don't. But I mean, this is exactly what we look for, and you can't fake that, or whatever it is.
My favorite place to. Usually, it's not my only deciding factor. Like I said, I want to focus on the cigar. But if I'm at the lake and I'm smoking a cigar in the water, floating above my head,
yeah, you like that?
Oh, I love it. And I can keep an ash on for a quarter, half the cigar with wind and obviously moisture from the water, and that bad boy holds on, it doesn't go out. I'm like, all right, there's no question that this cigar. Now, if it does have issues, I'm like, okay, I'm not holding it against the cigar because my current situation. But oh yeah,
that setup, I don't think I would enjoy.
I think you would.
I feel like my arm is like numb, like all the blood comes out of your arm, and
you get a cold beer in this hand. The waves are keeping you cool, so the only thing's out is your wrist.
So when we were in Pensacola, we go on the boat every weekend, and my dad bought for the boat these koozies, and at the top it was open, so you could slide your beer in there. Sorry, not koozies, noodles. Oh. So you put the noodle between your legs, and right in front of you is like a massive straw, and you slide a tall boy or whatever in there, and then we'd have straws in the beer.
You keep one hand underwater, just
you could keep both hands. I mean, it's just sitting there, and just dangles, so you kind of catch it, and. I was like, that is genius. I haven't seen them now since they've moved, and we need to dig those out, because that's what you need.
Yeah. I've always said if I was inventive, the pool float or the lake float that I want to design would be perfect. Cup holder, something like you described, something that like you just kind of get lost in. Maybe my cooler's attached to it, or a rope. That's the worst part, is that when the water's going, I'm like 5 slews down, and I'm like, shit, now I got to kick back to get me another beer.
Yeah, they had these beer noodles. I'm pretty sure they're just called beer noodles. And, man, you just sit in the Gulf, just bopping up and down, and your beer be right there. And it was great. But, yeah, I think you'd enjoy smoking on the water is my thing.
I think I could get you hooked. Especially like when we'll take the boat out and go to a friend of the family's. They have like an island, like literally an island. They brought in tons of sand to connect their island to the mainland, and so we pull the boat up right up on the sand. So you're like knee deep, or you can waddle out, and that's really nice because then you're not worried about like fighting the current and stuff like that.
I like if you beach a boat or whatever, you're in the water, but your hands are up on the boat or whatever.
Oh yeah, like hanging off the
That's nice, but
I do say though, or bottle bash is playing it with just part of it in the water, so that way you can make like dives and splash and stuff.
Yeah,
that game is made for the water.
It's a great game.
We took it to the beach when we were there at St. George Island a few weeks ago, and literally everyone these rookies had cornhole. They're playing cornhole and not even watching where it's going and watching us play bottle bash.
Yeah.
Such great
Cornhole's a great game, but it's just a pain in the ass to set up, and you got the boards and carry it. This thing's in a
those boards are heavy as hell.
Amazon Bottle Bash, folks, and it's like $50 or whatever. It's one of the best games.
30, even better. And like Bailey's like, they're gonna rust, and I'm like, it's $30. Let's just buy a new one.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about it.
We left ours up in Delaware actually by accident, and Laura, Meg's mom, was like, "Hey, are y'all okay if we keep this set and we'll just send you another one?" I was like, "Yeah, go ahead."
Yeah.
So now they're hooked. It's a fun game. I don't know who told. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they introduced it to us last beach week last year, and we bought it shortly after.
It's I don't play cornhole enough, so I can't say I'm bad at cornhole. I'm not good at cornhole. I think I only play a few times, but my record at Bottle Bash is not too shabby.
Do you play with a beer in your hand?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is the greatest house rule that I think I have for any games that I had.
I thought it was we were playing. Rule.
Oh, it should be. I don't know why it's not. We were playing with a couple, and his wife wasn't drinking. And the amount of shit that she got from everyone for not having something in her hand, that she went and got an empty water bottle.
Yeah.
Because I've made catches, it'll like bounce off the frisbee, will dent my can, and I'm able to catch it. And I'm like, hell yeah. It's great.
The inside of my thumb area is always like swollen and bruised. Sometimes those things hurt.
Oh, I was telling you about this. I was playing with some muscleheads, just jack dudes.
Yeah.
And they were putting some oomph into it. And I had the bruise. The bruise that I had right here on my knuckle was gross because I was just catching it. It was just hurting. But
Meg's shins were all busted up. It looked like someone beat her. And I was like,
Doc, I swear it's from Bottle Bash.
Yeah,
your husband did what with the bottle?
Right now. It hurts. I mean, that's one of my tactics, though, is find the weak and just pelt it at them. And
we're playing with our
get the points.
Friend's kid, and he took one to the dome. Not my throw. He took one straight to the glasses, took it like a champ, and continued playing. I was like, good for you, kid. But we're going to be playing this weekend, going to the lake for the weekend with it's a cousin's weekend. Bailey's mom's side of the family all gets together, all her cousins and their kids. So it'll be a fun weekend. But I do owe you majorly for that. But let's give a little update. I know you're about a quarter inch in. I think I'm right there with you. The really heavy earth has subsided for me. It's much more, I think it started out full-bodied, and I think now it's maybe medium plus. So it's actually come down in terms of strength.
It's definitely front-loaded, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Not spicy.
Which I love.
I love something to wake me up.
I mean, the first third of Cigar, to me, is it's all or nothing. You got to, it's your time to shine.
But that beef jerky's kind of come down a little bit. The earth has come down, and they're still there. It's definitely the top notes of this cigar, but they're not as umphy and punchy as they were in the initial. I would like a touch more, maybe sweetness on the retrohale. That's kind of come down as well, and now it's more of just a white pepper. Not spicy, but you can tell there's a little pepper there.
Toast.
Yeah, I think that's a great description.
In a good way.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you bounce it around in your mouth, a little overcharred. Speaking of, I did this last night. I put some buns on the grill. We're doing some little quick burger action and overcharred it a little bit, but exactly what I did last night.
We walked out. We went to a friend's house the other night. We're doing sliders, and we go to perfect use for the Blackstone. 24 sliders, throw them on the Blackstone, bing, bang, boom. I go out there, and when I did my initial seasoning, it was really windy, so half the grill it's not rust, but it is rust, I guess.
Yikes.
And so that part that didn't get perfectly seasoned that first time, I had to scrub down. All that to say, couldn't use the damn Blackstone, and we were not happy.
Yikes. Yeah, I'm digging this. The other piece of the puzzle here is smoking the same blend but in different sizes.
Yeah.
As
we've been doing that a lot lately.
Yeah. As we've done in prior podcasts, we love doing that because it's either A, going to taste the exact same, which it probably won't. I don't know if I've ever had a cigar, same blend, different size, that tasted the exact same. I don't know. But, there's some blends that taste better in different sizes, and some people like different sizes more than others, and some people want thinner ring gauges, some want a little bit of a bigger ring gauge, and
Yep.
That's the other piece of the puzzle, is to have fun with that. Includes some maybe petite Robustos, maybe a Churchill every once in a while. I mean, I think we've only ever shipped 3 or 4 Churchills. The bag back in the olden days used to be the culprit.
That was before I think right when I came on in 2021, we upgraded to a bigger bag to allow for some bigger
Lanceros. By a couple
Lanceros.
inches or whatever, so we could include some longer Lanceros and stuff. But, we're getting into more back-to-backs on different sizes, which I like. We've got several in the pipeline. And that's really a lot of fun. But all that to say, this is just such a unique size. I don't know the last type of Lonsdale that I've smoked. Hell, it. Maybe I've not even had a Lonsdale this year. Surely I have, but
You know what? I'll tell you here. In
it's
a second,
just
'cause I think we've shipped a couple.
a fun, unique size. It's great in the hand. It smokes beautifully.
So for this blend, they offer it in a 4x48 Rothschild, 5x50
would be badass,
Robusto, 6.5x42 Lonsdale, which is what we're smoking, and then a 6x54 Toro. So, to your point, how do we determine, which Vitola we're going to send? A lot of it could just be that's the Vitola that we smoked, or hey, we've shipped a lot of Robustos. We don't necessarily want to do another Robusto this year or this month. We really want this cigar, yada yada. Let's say we really love this Lonsdale, and be like, man, we've shipped nothing but a bunch of Lonsdales over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Can we get a Rothschild just because it's a different size? That certainly is a factor. So there's a lot of different things in it, but usually we smoke. This is what we got from Robert, so obviously we're forced to do that. But usually it's a Robusto or a Corona Gorda, somewhere in that suite around a 50 ring gauge is what we'll try. Sometimes we're like, hey, we really want this in a Lancero because we think it's going to be great in a Lancero, like a new blend or something like that. And we just know it will be. But in terms of Lonsdales, I'm just kind of scrolling through here.
Stand by. I got to go sign for this package.
Copy that. Trying to see when was the last Lonsdale that we shipped out here. It's certainly been. There it is. I found it. I'll wait for him to get back to give the big reveal. But it has been a while that we've done Lonsdale, and that's part of it as well. It's like, hey, let's just try new sizes. I mean, we'll certainly try Corona Gordas, Toro Extras. We've certainly shipped Gordos before because it's a 56 ring gauge, but it smokes like a 52, and it's like, hey, we know some people love bigger ring gauges. We'll definitely get that, and those people that are like, no, I don't like a 56. It's like, cool. I know it says 56 on it, but trust us, this doesn't smoke like a 56. And the binder and filler to ratio of wrapper works really well in this 56 ring gauge. Griff, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So the last Lonsdale that we shipped was the Dapper Desvalito Diesel Lonsdale. So
Wow.
it's been a minute. I think that was maybe December of last year. And it's just a size that not necessarily gets often made, right? So there is a limited amount of new blends that have that Lonsdale. Usually if you're coming out with a new line, you're going Robusto, you're going Toro, and you're probably going something in 54, 56 ring gauge, like a Gordo. Yeah. So a Lonsdale tends to be a Vitola that is purposely blended because that wrapper, binder, filler, whatever it may be, works really well on that size. Or it could just be one of the favorite sizes of that blender or that manufacturer or owner, and they're like, no, I'm always going to do a Lonsdale because I love it. It's my favorite size. So there's a couple things that go into it, but once again, I mean, this ash is impeccable.
The other piece of the puzzle is we've got members that do not want full-bodied cigars.
Yep.
In this case, they will not be getting this cigar.
No.
We've got members that only want full-bodied cigars. When we decide in the next 10 minutes, which I already have my answer, they potentially would get this cigar. So that's the other piece of the pie that I don't necessarily love smoking lighter, more mild cigar, Connecticut's, if you will. Pugh more so does than me.
Yeah.
So we got to, I don't want to say unfortunately, but we got to cater towards both ends of the spectrum here.
Well, and I think that's what's really great too. You were talking about how it's cool that we have like different tastes and stuff like that. I think it actually somehow works perfectly because, if both of us were only full-bodied guys,
yeah,
it'd be difficult to find really good Connecticut's. I mean, maybe it wouldn't be because if we found a really good Connecticut that we both liked, then it'd be like, well, hell yeah, this is for us being full-bodied. We like it. But, and I think purposely over the last year and a half, we've really going on the opposite sides of the spectrum and continue to talk about Connecticut's. Like, I think a lot of the Connecticut's that we have shipped over the last several years have been interesting, different Connecticut's, right? It's not just your. I don't mean to shit on this cigar, so don't take it wrong if you enjoy this, but like a Macanudo Gold, right? Mm-hmm. To me, that is just a plain Jane. It may not even be a Connecticut wrapper, but like that kind of straight, mild cigar. Nothing wrong with it, but a lot of times the Connecticut's and those more mild cigars, we want to look for something that makes it unique, whether that be inclusion of broadleaf in the filler that just adds a little pop, but not adding strength or pushing it towards a medium plus cigar. Or, I love when I get a Connecticut cigar that has some citrus to it and a little bit of acidity in the cigar because it makes it interesting. It makes it unique. And, it adds transition. It adds a pop to it as you smoke. And that tends to be what I look for in a standout. I think of like, what's the cigar? We smoked Lovely Cigar, which was a lighter wrapper. Yep. I don't think it was a Connecticut wrapper off the top of my head, but actually I say that it may have been, but we smoked that cigar at PCA. And after 6-7 cigars, if you get a Connecticut, chances are if it doesn't have something a little extra to it, it's just going to fall flat. We smoked that cigar, and it held on its own after numerous cigars throughout the day, and was like, all right, this cigar is going to be really great because we can taste it still after all of these, which is why we tend to approach this on a fresh palate because we don't want that influence of either our fatigue, like, God, I've smoked 3 cigars today, which sounds great, but when you're trying to be purposeful in your smoking of the cigar, may not be. And then, you're like, all right, this cigar's just boring because it doesn't stand stands out against the other ones we smoked, but it more than likely would have on a fresh palate.
If I had a heavier cigar this morning, my potentially would have been a little bit altered. I probably still would have very much enjoyed it, but I started with Connecticut this morning, which, newsflash, if you didn't know, the HVC Hotcake Golden line is just incredible. I've smoked 2 already, and I got them yesterday afternoon. That is the cigar I think that's going to convert me to a Connecticut lover.
Yeah. I think everyone has that cigar or something in their life that you're like, I don't like this, and then you have it. Like wine, I think everyone has a wine that I don't like wine, but you're consistently trying to see if there is something out there for you, and then you find that wine and then you're like, damn, this is wide open world now. I know where to start. Yeah. You grow to like wine more, and then you're able to branch out and maybe appreciate those wines that you didn't previously.
But it's also interesting, like on the wine side, I'm dark, deep, rich, heavy cabs, which is so typical because other than coffee, I'm not. I used to be. On coffee, I'm on the lighter side, but bourbon's heavier, and actually beer. I like light beer. So there's 2 caveats: beer and coffee. But on the cigar side, dark, heavy, rich. Wine side, dark, heavy, rich. Bourbon side, dark, heavy, rich.
You're nothing but consistent. I'll give you that.
Well, other than 2, you'd think I'd like just like mud coffee, but don't. Mm-mm. And think maybe I like, heavier IPAs and stuff, and I don't either. So, I had a point that I was going
Blanco tequila
with.
too.
And tequila. You said wine, and that triggered that, but I can't remember the follow-up thought to what I was.
It'll come back to you tonight. You can text me.
Yeah.
So, approaching, I'm going to let you stew on that. Approaching halfway, still coming down. I would say this is probably almost at a straight medium now for me. And I've had a transition away from that earth and beef jerky, and I'm getting a touch more, or the prominent note is toasted bread.
Yeah.
There's some nuts in there. I almost got like a hint of cinnamon, but it was very, very like subdued cinnamon. I honestly, and I'm not trying to blow
smoke output.
Yeah, I know the smoke output's insane. I'm not trying to blow smoke up this cigar's ass for the podcast. This is one of the cigars that I've had very, very noticeable transitions. Just popping out. Like I'm not searching for them. They're just coming in waves, which is really, really exciting. I did not expect that in or at least from the initial third or fourth, I didn't expect like that much of a noticeable transition.
Do you prefer a cigar that, I think I know the answer to this. Do you prefer a cigar that maybe starts out creamy, bready, and then kind of creeps up the line in terms of strength, in terms of flavor, spicy, cinnamony, red hot, or alternative, front-loaded, heavy, rich, peppery, spicy, and kind of goes down?
I don't think I have a preference. The one thing I don't find as enjoyable is when it's just a spice bomb right up front. Like if I like light into a cigar and it's just like I chewing on black peppercorns and that's all I can get. And the reason for it is sometimes it can shoot my palate out.
Yeah, I was going to say that is the downfall.
Yeah. But I get why it's there. And a lot of times it's intentionally there, but I've had certain cigars that were really just way too peppery up front, and then that shoots my palate, and that's the only flavor profile or flavor note that I can get throughout the rest of the cigar.
Yeah, I like a heavy front-loaded cigar because sometimes cigars are the opposite. It starts out creamy and starts building, but also builds with strength, and it gets hotter, and it's like, by the time you're halfway done, it's like this thing is just getting thicker and thicker and thicker.
Yeah.
On the flip side, it's if you start that way and you kind of get into the more creamy, more smooth, more,
It almost like cleanses your palate if it's done
like
correctly.
This is.
Yeah. I think it's a perfect example of something like that. But this wasn't peppery up front, which is why it was those earthy beef jerky flavor notes. I think if this was a pepper bomb up front, oh no, the fan died, Griff. What am I going to do? Oh shit.
Here comes the sweat.
Rip. If it was that pepper bomb up front, it could have overshadowed those lighter notes in the cigar. So it's one of those. It really depends on the blend. In terms of if I have a preference between like creamy up front and then transitions into flavor, or not flavor, but full bodied.
Yeah.
I don't think one way or the other. It doesn't. I don't think at the end of the day I could be like, oh, I would prefer this over. That.
Yeah. I think, not to again compare this to the Las Calaveras, but I think to me on the Calaveras it was kind of getting hotter and hotter and just more ashy. I hate to say that, but as I smoked it, and this is kind of a nice refreshing flip.
Yeah, certainly.
Because you would think maybe this would just get more by the time we're halfway or almost done. It's like medium plus full, which it very well could be. It could change here in another 10 minutes, but
absolutely,
I don't think it's going to happen.
And I expect it. Usually, I expect every cigar by the time I get to the band to have picked up in intensity, only for the fact that you have smoked and you have pushed smoke and all the things that come with tobacco all through that point. Yeah. So a lot of times you'll see myself and others recut their cigar as they get halfway through because it just kind of clears out that spot that you've been smoking. If you ever have, it's a gross word to say, but if you ever have tar buildup, a little black oil coming out, that can ruin a cigar, and it's not really indicative of the cigar itself. Just cut the shoulder of the cigar, cut down a little bit more. It'll clean out that tar tobacco. This guy's jamming on his bike.
Yeah, he is.
And it'll clean it up, and it'll completely freshen the cigar back and ruin any of those kind of harsher notes that you don't want in your cigar.
I'm looking at this. This thing is soaked. by my spit. Is yours just super wet?
No.
When I smoke a cigar, I get it wet.
My dad does too.
Yeah.
He'll be like, "Hey, let me take a puff of that cigar." And I'm like, "Motherfucker!" He's gonna be listening to this, going, "I didn't know I did that."
Here you go, son.
Yeah, it's just all.
Oh.
But there'll be guys, I always have a fond, maybe respect's not the right word, a fond curiosity for guys that will chew on the end of their cigar.
Yeah, I don't do that, but I always look around like when I'm at a place, and this is super weird, but I always take note on how wet their tip is. Because I'm a wet guy.
I'm a wet guy, but I keep my cigar dry.
Yeah.
No, I know. It's just
this thing is drenched.
No, not me. Mine's
But I also put it in my mouth a good ways. This is going crazy here. But yeah, oh God, you even smoking that thing?
Oh man,
you don't want to see
Clean.
mine. Mine looks like a stick that's been sitting out in the rain.
No, that's interesting. I think it's more noticeable.
Maybe that's not a thing, but
What?
that just observing other people's.
Oh, I do. Trust me.
Okay.
When I'm at a lounge, I'm not. It's not judging. I'm just curious.
I'm curious how they cut it. I'm curious how they light it, and I'm curious how how they smoke it.
Yeah, that's the one that I look for the most. Is just watching people and how they enjoy their cigar. I've talked about it before. There's a guy at my local brick and mortar who literally downs a frickin' Churchill in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's intense.
As long as you're enjoying it, good for you. But
intense.
that's a little too. I mean, I don't know. That's hot. And then just on that note, I'm holding that right on the cherry, and it is not hot at all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's phenomenal. And no shock, he went to Oliva for this, right? So they know how to make a damn good cigar. They've got some of the best tobacco in the world, and it's no surprise that this has incredible construction. And that's another thing. If I try to at least look at where it's made, if I'm giving a brand new cigar, I wouldn't have known where this was rolled at. There are certain factories. We've talked about La Isla. Oliva's up there as well. My father's there for me. As well in terms of quality output, quality construction, combustion, and just really well-rolled cigars. There are certain cigars that I can just have faith in them without smoking them, that construction is going to be on point. Just because of their track record in producing quality cigars. New factories, it's different. New brands, it's different. If it's a factory that I haven't heard of before, or maybe I don't smoke too often, I'll go in with a little bit more... not skepticism is not the right word, but paying more attention to the quality and construction because I'm not familiar with that brand or that factory. But Ostos could give us a cigar, and my dad's a perfect example of this. I gave him a cigar the other day. I won't name the brand, and he comes in and he goes, "It's amazing how consistent La Isla cigars are."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "This cigar, I've touched it up like 5 times. The burn was shitty. The draw was terrible." Yeah. And he's like, he came in and grabbed an Origin because of how annoying of an experience the cigar that he smoked was. He's like, I just need something that's not going to fight me throughout the whole thing. Going back to what we were talking about earlier is we want to make sure we're giving you guys cigars that you're not going to be annoyed at and fight the whole time.
Another observation I've finally figured out is when I watch people, which seems like I'm just in there just watching people. I'm not. But
I love people watching. So
when you're talking to people, you just start observing and I've noticed that some people, when they light their cigar, they don't really light it. And then in 5 minutes, they're starting to touch it up, and it's a never-ending battle. And I'm like, I just want to go over there and be like, man, can I just tell you, you're not lighting this thing properly.
Take your time. Absolutely.
They're lighting it like a cigarette for a fraction of a second, and like one half is lit and the other is completely, untouched. And I'm like, you're going to be battling this thing the whole time. And some people just get in there and do it quick, and I'm just like, I don't know, you got to toast the whole... I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think the toasting, the initial cut that you make, making sure it's not too low or not too high, and then the toast, all are the initial starting point to making sure that your cigar is going to be the best possible smoking experience. Like you said, if you're going in and not toasting and just going immediately into drawing as it's in the flame, chances are the middle of that tobacco is not going to be lit. Or vice versa, the outside of the cigar is not going to burn and it's going to tunnel. And so, I mean, there's times where I've have smoked a cigar and I didn't pay attention to either the initial cut or that initial toast, and you're damn straight. 5-10 minutes in, I'm going, all right, I botched this, and I'll even go down, take like my Cigar, and just go down and recut the top of the cigar, recut the bottom of the cigar, and start over because it's just not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I think people forget about. And if you just light it properly, 8 times, maybe even 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a great experience. You won't have to continue to touch it up. And I mean, this, I haven't relit once.
No.
It's great.
Yeah. And, well, final verdict here. I think we both know what we're going to say. Is this a cigar that you would want to include in boxes?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Absolutely. This is going to be a phenomenal cigar for anyone who likes, fuller-bodied cigars.
But not really.
I think, I think this cigar is perfect for anyone who enjoys medium plus, full-bodied.
It's a dark wrapper.
It's a dark wrapper. It's nothing to be, and I've gotten a lot better at this, thanks to you, in part, is not being intimidated by a really, really dark broadleaf cigar, because the look is deceiving, and when done properly and balanced, the broadleaf is tamed by the binder and the filler, and it's a enjoyable smoking experience with complexity, transitions, and balance. Yeah. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what we look for.
I will say, I got to come clean on this one. I was going to light up a Los Statos Deluxe a couple mornings ago. That is the darkest cigar I probably have, period.
What cigar?
Los Statos Deluxe. It's an old STG brand that they did a collab with Matt Booth.
Oh, okay.
It's a broadleaf, and I was going to have it in the morning, but it comes in nice, like a big Tootsie Roll, all wrapped up in tissue paper.
Oh, the light blue one?
Yeah.
Got it.
I forgot it was a broadleaf until I opened it, and I'm like, good God, this thing is dark. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to start with this. And
I haven't. Mine's still in the white tissue paper. I haven't seen what that wrapper looks like.
It's almost pitch black.
Jesus.
So I'm really excited to smoke that. But I have to come clean. That was the time I was like, you know what? I better not start this at 9 a.m.
That would be
because I was like, this could whip my ass, or just I got to stick with heavy cigars that day. So that was one cigar, like Monday or Tuesday morning.
Yeah, I think it was early this week. I remember seeing the photo you sent.
And then I went with Black Star Lines.
Yes,
Milagro.
Milagro,
which was amazing.
Yeah, Eric doesn't make anything bad. I'm excited. I haven't yet, but I've got his 2 new cigars that he came out with at PCA on my docket to smoke through. I think I forgot. No, maybe I only got. Maybe I don't know.
No,
there was a cigar that I forgot to give you.
Several.
Well, okay. In my defense, I was like, "Hey, I want to go see Eric before I would leave," and you and Ramsey were like, "Oh, I need to go freshen up before we sit outside for dinner.
We need to go powder our noses."
Yeah,
we did it together.
Well, that's very cute of you. I do have, before we wrap up, we got a giveaway, but before we do that, we've got the question of the show. Griff, I'm going to throw this your way. I haven't read it yet. This comes through. Ramsey wasn't kidding. Great name. Repent to the Lord Jesus. Thank you for the question. How many cigars per day is okay to smoke, and what will be too much?
Oh, that's you don't have to have any brain power to answer that. Great question.
That's why I threw it your way.
And it's so subjective. Yeah. Can you read one more time, though?
Repent to the Lord Jesus wants to know how many cigars per day is okay to smoke, and what will be too much?
I don't think there's an answer really for the first part of the question. The answer to the second part is when they all start tasting the same, or when they all start tasting kind of just bitter and campfirey. Yep. Because your palate was probably shot at that point. I don't know. It depends where you live, what the weather is, your current setup. I love to have a coffee in the morning. Every single morning I have coffee, and I love to have a cigar. Mm-hmm.
I'm jealous. You're very good at starting your day off with a cigar. And I wish I had your focus to be able to do so. But I'm too, I got to get in there and just get the bulk, the majority of the work done in the morning. I can't limp into it. So I'm jealous of that.
And I don't, every morning, of course. But,
Sure.
I was talking to Alex, I think, or she posed a question, or someone did that. Do you prefer having your preferred pairing? Is it with coffee or is it with booze? And honestly, I feel like it might be with coffee because there's just something about having a cigar in the morning. It's nice and quiet. It's usually cooler. Nothing's really on your mind just yet. But rewind a year or 2 years ago, it's like, oh my God, you'd have a cigar first thing in the morning? Like, what are you, a psychopath?
That's the tone for the day, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, like you said, it's awakening almost because you're having your coffee, you're having a cigar, you're starting the workday or your weekend or vacation, whatever it may be. You're starting out on the right foot. You're starting it out with something you're enjoying. You're taking kind of time to yourself. Some people meditate in the morning. You just happen to have a cigar with coffee in the morning. I love it.
But it's so funny because I used to think it's like, years ago too, maybe prior to me being 21, I don't know. If I was at the airport at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. and I see people at the bar having a drink, I'm like, you're a freaking alcoholic. Nowadays, it's like, why not? You're at the airport.
Absolutely.
If you're going on vacation, might as well have one.
The amount of people that, when I was in the Delta Lounge, when we were going to Vegas, walk in there. I mean, it's 6:30, crack ass of dawn.
Oh, yeah.
Breakfast is out. No. She bowed people to get to the first damn mimosa of the day.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, good for you. Good for you. I
Yeah.
need my coffee. You have that free mimosa.
It's just funny, though, how I've changed in both those areas. I absolutely love having a cigar in the morning. And then, again, it depends on the day. If it's crazy hot out, no. And it's been so crazy hot recently. The fall and the wintertime is going to be dangerous for me. But
Me too.
to answer the second question, I think it's exactly what I said. If it starts just building up and your palate is just chalky and bitter, it's probably too much. But, have a Diet Coke or have some sparkling water or
Some chocolate or some food.
beef jerky
something.
or what have you to cleanse it. We smoked so many cigars in Vegas.
Yep.
Surprisingly, our palates really were not that shot.
When we went the first time in 2022, my palate was wrecked. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I think we ended up smoking more cigars this year, but for the most part, I mean, during the show, I was not fatigued. I took some time off smoking cigars afterwards, but I felt fine this year, which I don't know what that says about us
than this year. This year,
absolutely.
I was rolling.
Yeah.
So there's not really an answer, in my opinion. If you want to smoke 5 cigars a day, then go ahead.
There's some people that smoke probably a box a day. I mean,
Yeah,
if you can, go for it. Not medical advice, so don't.
Yeah, we're not doctors here.
We're not doctors here. For me, it tends to be. I used to be able to smoke like 3 or 4 when we'd go out on Thursday nights and play trivia, just because we were there all night drinking and carrying on. For me, it's usually about 2. Two is.
Yeah.
I'm ready to do something other than sit outside.
Yeah.
If I could smoke in my office, I would probably smoke 3 or 4 a day.
Oh, it'd be game over.
It would be just nonstop.
Yeah.
Whether it'd be working or just hanging out, playing games or watching Netflix or whatever, I would be crushing cigars. So it's a good thing Bailey and Meg don't allow us to smoke in our offices.
That's the other thing. Like when you're at PCA, you're all in the same atmosphere. You're an outlier if you don't have a cigar in your hand. Not really, but when you go to like Alec Bradley and stuff, you can obviously smoke in all the offices. So it's an all day
cool,
thing.
It's AC. You're comfortable and nice couches.
Yeah, it's an all day thing, and so it depends on the atmosphere. And if you could smoke in your house, I think that would be kind of gross actually, but you would be smoking a lot more than if you could only smoke outside and you're in Arizona or what have you. So,
don't leave. Fat fingered it. All right, before we wrap up here, we want to give a giveaway here. So in the comments below, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell so you know when new videos go out. I want to know in the comments below, what are you looking for? What do you look for when smoking a new cigar? Let us know. We'd love to hear your feedback. Or your thoughts on that, rather. And from that, we're going to select a winner and send out a 3-pack of our cigar journals. So that way you can keep note of the cigars that you are smoking. I got a place for you to put your band in there, the type of cigar, wrapper, binder, filler, description, the whole 9 yards, tasting notes. And that way you can keep up with the cigars that you're smoking, whether it's from us or from your local brick and mortar or whatever else is in your humidor. So let us know. We'd love to know. But any departing wisdom before we wrap up here, Griff?
No, putting in boxes. For sure.
Definitely. Come in boxes.
This is a great cigar.
This is really, really good. I'm honored. Thank you, Robert. We reached out to him and let him know we were going to do this episode around this cigar. So shout out to Robert and the Lost and Found brand. You're going to be seeing a lot more from Caldwell and Lost and Found coming to your boxes coming to boxes soon. And stay out on the lookout. Some of you will be having this Lost and Found Forever Fresh Broadleaf Maduro, and I think I'm definitely going to say Lonsdale.
And let us know if you agree, and you ideally kind of watch this and smoke it if you get it. But let us know if you see the transition, if you get that burnt bread, if you get the beef jerky on the front end.
Yeah,
perfect construction. I'm hoping because this is definitely box worthy, and I could smoke another one right after this.
I completely agree. I'm now, just last final note here, over halfway through, and the beef jerky and earth have subsided. It's toasted bread. It's toasted nuts. You throw some cashews in the oven, heat it up, get that oil coming out. Really, really cool to see those transitions. I haven't had a cigar that's had this many noticeable transitions in quite a long time. So, and especially for a broadleaf.
Straight medium.
Yeah, I would say it went from full to medium, maybe a touch over medium. I think the heat's making it a little bit more medium plus for me. But another great episode. We've got some amazing things coming in store for y'all soon. Do want to let everyone know the AI cigar is being rolled. We're wrapping things up on that. Yep. So more things to come with that project. Amazing things in store for you for the rest of this year. I can't believe it's August already. I'm starting to switch gears to 2024. I feel like this summer has flown by. But thank you all again for tuning in every week and listening to the Cigar Club podcast. Until next time, everyone, happy smoking.
Peace.